Welcome to Hope with Jonathan podcast, where we share stories of hope. My name is Jonathan Traylor. I'm a 15-month kidney transplant recipient who faced a near-death experience back in July of 2019. I had a lot of different symptoms: chronic fatigue, swollen ankles, couldn't breathe very well, and really nauseated. And I stayed in the bed for days of what I thought was fighting the flu. No, it wasn't. It was complete kidney failure, guys. Stage 5 ESRD. Within a few days, they removed about 30 pounds of fluid, and I had to ride in a helicopter to get dialysis treatment to save my life. Listen, guys, we now try to educate people, inspire, and motivate through the power of sharing your warrior story. If you like stories like this, stay tuned. Hope with Jonathan podcast is a Hope Media production. Never let hope become a memory. Hope with Jonathan podcast is a Hope Media production. Hey guys, welcome back to the Hope with Jonathan podcast, and I'm your host, Jonathan Traylor. Hey guys, on this week's episode of Hope with Jonathan podcast, we feature the kidney fighter, Marc Coronel. Man, what an awesome, influential individual this guy is. I mean, incredible. Lots of energy, lots of passion. And you guys are going to hear this on the podcast. I hope you guys are ready for this one. This guy's a ball of fire. He's got a lot of energy, and he came on the show and shared his incredible journey with battling kidney disease, doing dialysis, getting a transplant, and much more. And he talked about how to advocate. And I think that's a really great point that we bring out into this podcast is how to advocate when you're living with kidney disease and in search for a donor. And man, Marc Coronel, man, I can't thank him enough for coming on the show. Just a really incredible kidney advocate. If you're not already following him over on Instagram, or friends with him on Facebook and other social media outlets, please do so. This guy's incredible. All the way from California. Just really impressive individual. Really appreciate Marc for what he's doing in the kidney disease and kidney community. And thanks again, Marc. Man, this is going to be a great podcast for all of you kidney warriors out there to listen to. Very influential individual. God bless you guys. Y'all take care. And again, guys, take care of your kidneys. This is Jonathan. Hey guys, this is Jonathan, the host of the Hope with Jonathan podcast. And hey guys, Hope with Jonathan now has a website, www.hopewithjonathan.com, where you can go over and find out where to follow us on all of our social media links, our podcast, our YouTube channel, and much more. Again, guys, for more information on Hope with Jonathan, you can go to www.hopewithjonathan.com. So help me welcome a very, very special welcome, guys, to Marc Coronel. Let's welcome him to Hope with Jonathan. Marc Coronel, guys.
Shake it, baby.
Welcome to the show, Marc Coronel.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks for having me. That was one of the best introductions I've ever seen in my life as an intro. Thank you so much for doing that, man. That literally like woke me up right now.
I appreciate you, man. Just trying to make some noise, man. Try to do something different. Trying to bring life to this kidney community. So I appreciate the compliment. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Marc's the kidney warrior, guys. I want Marc to introduce himself a little bit and kind of tell us just a little bit about his story, and before we get into what his points that he wants to make on this interview tonight.
So how's everybody doing tonight? My name's Marc Coronel, the kidney fighter. I've been fighting kidney disease for about 10 years. 8 of them, I was actually just fighting it regularly. And then I ended up on dialysis for 2 and getting a kidney transplant in 2. So that makes it about 10. But I was first diagnosed on my 26th birthday on a routine physical. And I told even the doctor, I said, hey, doc, don't waste your time. I'm perfectly healthy. And this is where I was going to have a clean slate. I was going to turn pro as a professional boxer. And that was going to be my journey into becoming a pro boxer. 2 days later, the doctor calls me and says, hey, you know what? Your labs don't seem right. We need you to come back, do a biopsy, and we can figure out what's going on from there. And it might just be a clinical error. So we just want to come in, get you to do a kidney biopsy. And there it was. It was day and night, boom, just like that. So did the biopsy, waited 24 hours, and then I was diagnosed with FSGS, focal segmental sclerosis sarcosis, scarring in the kidneys, right? And my life completely changed. I went from a boxer to fighting for my life, right? Fighting people to fighting my life. And that was one of the hardest transition because I wasn't prepared for that type of fight. And this is where that journey began.
Right. Yeah, that's incredible, man. I mean, I remember I got hit by kidney disease like a truck back in July of 2019. So I had no knowledge or anything. So I can definitely sympathize, with, sounds like kind of sort of happened to you too. You was on your road to, becoming a professional boxer, and then boom, you got hit like a truck. It seemed like by kidney disease, FSGS.
I got hit like me getting in the ring with Tyson, in his prime. So, it was really one of those punches where it was just like, wow, this one was right to the gut. And I needed to prepare for a new type of battle. And that's something we're just not prepared for, right? And that's what leads with our today's conversation, right? Is how to advocate and tell your kidney disease story with confidence. And this is that time where we shine the most, right?
Sure.
Where our journey is who we are, number one, and number two, what have we learned to help other people who are just being diagnosed or going through dialysis, or who had a kidney transplant that are facing that wall where they're saying, what do I do now? I don't know where to go, where to look, and who to ask questions from.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, now that we kind of got into our story a little bit, the worst has happened to us. And, and now we got to learn how to accept what has happened to us and move forward. So how do we do that? How do we advocate for ourselves, and how do we look for that donor, and what ways?
So what I did was I compiled 5 different scenarios and questions that I had to deal with as a patient, right? And this is 10 years of experience. And I hope that I can give that to any patient listening, any person who's diagnosed, who's going through it, and who doesn't have that 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 strength to say, you know what, I need to change doctors because they're just living their life because of kidney disease, right? So the first thing is to listen to your body and your instinct. Everyone can be an expert in something else, but you're an expert in yourself, right? Our brain tells us when we have a headache. Our brain tells us when we need to urinate. Our brain tells us when we're hungry. So these are the things that we know, right? We know that our when we listen to our body, these are the things that our body tells us. The thing about kidney disease is that kidney disease doesn't show its signs and symptoms to the very end stage of renal disease, right? And a lot of people will say, well, I'm starting to urinate less. I'm feeling a bit more fatigued more and more. I remember when I was towards the end stage of renal disease, I would work, take a nap between 12 to 3, go right back into work, and thinking to myself, I just took a long nap, a long power nap at that, and I'm still tired.
Sure.
And those are things that your body tells you, right? So number one is listen to your body and your instinct, right? If you know something's wrong, make sure you take note of what that is, right? um and don't ignore it, I remember when I was diagnosed, what I did, I was like, I'm gonna sleep it off, and then hopefully it can be better. That's not the case when it comes to renal failure, renal disease, anything that has to do with anything kidneys. Number two, once you start to understand your body, maximize your time with your practitioner, your PCP, your internal medicine doctor, right? I was listening to a podcast recently, and one of the doctors said, good information saves lives, bad information can end them.
Wow.
Let me repeat that. Good information saves lives, bad information can end them.
Wow.
Now, this can happen to a lot of people, right? I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people saying this is the right thing. Do your homework, you know, add a second opinion. And if that doesn't fit, add a third opinion. We need to advocate for ourselves. And when I heard that, I was thinking to myself, wow, this really hit to me, because now I'm so alert and aware of hospital care and what I look for in a doctor, that I just know the types of questions to ask, right? Which
Yeah.
also, to my second portion of this is, don't discuss personal problems, right? These people are your doctors, your PCP, your internal medicine doctor. They're there to help you find the solution to your problem that you're fighting with internally. Doctors are specialists in science, in the way you deal with your problems. They don't want to hear. They're not your therapist. They're not your, you know a person who gets paid for a psychotherapy analysis to let you know what's going on. They want to let you know what's going on with your blood pressure. Are you diabetic? With your A1C, your creatinine levels? Those are the things you need to be discussing. Have your questions ready. I remember when I was first diagnosed, I was really scared to ask the doctor, because I thought in my mind personally, he knew everything that was going on with me. But then when I
Yeah.
would say, this is how I would feel, you know how that feels, doc, he would say no. Um, and that really bothered me, and I didn't get to understand that till I actually ended up on dialysis. And dialysis was one of that turning factor, where later on I'll definitely tell you a little bit of my story on how I advocated for myself in that. But create an action plan, right? Create that action plan when you go and ask those questions with these doctors. Again, remember, these guys aren't your therapists. They don't want to know. They want to know how your weekend went. Great. Let's move on right to your healthcare and the situation and scenarios that you're in right now, right? So create
Yep.
that action plan, right? Like, doc, I'm overweight, I'm diabetic, I'm obese, I have high blood pressure. I also now have kidney failure because I'm diabetic, and now that I have high blood pressure, this is my situation. Ask them who specializes in food and what I ingest, right? I mean, a renal dietitian, anyone who focuses on food, nutritionist, dietitian. These people are really, really they know their stuff. I mean, I remember when I was on dialysis, my potassium, my phosphorus pills. I would take phosphorus pills because my phosphorus would be so high. She would say, Mark, you got to get off your ketchup, your potatoes, and all of that stuff. And I really build that relationship and rapport with my team of dietitian and nutritionists, right? And again, this is a team. You have a team effort of people around you. You have your internal medicine, and they refer you to other doctors, and you got to start to get to know these people. And that leads to my next question, my next advocate topic, which is know when to find a new doctor and learn how to shop for one, right? This is a question that I get asked a lot in my personal life and from other patients as well. Is they say, well, Mark, how do I know when a doctor is right for me? And this is a whole psychological thing, but is there a connection? That's the number one thing you want to ask yourself. Is there a connection between your nephrologist, your cardiologist, your internal medicine, and do you feel supported in your journey? We're already going through depressing state. We're already going through what we're already going through. But do you feel that support when you go into that doctor's visit? Is there a connection, right? Know who's treating you, right? You interview these people, interview these doctors, and they don't take offense, and you shouldn't either. You're looking for the best care possible. I mean, we're talking about, I want to live another 20, 30 years with this kidney, right? I need a doctor who knows what they're going to be doing to make sure that that happens, right? Oh, your CMV, Mark, is going up. There's 1 million units. Well, doc, let's get right to that. How can we fix that? Your BK virus is coming, Mark, and we have to find that early on. This is a podcast of preventative medicine. We're talking about how to prevent something worse happening from our already worse situation. Does that make any sense? So, sure. Those are the types of things that I do. And if they cannot, and when you're doing this process, I've done this before, is can you refer me to any of your colleagues? I've said that before. And sometimes asking that from a doctor it's like they can take that personal. And sure. It's no offense to the doctor, right? I just have to find somebody within the hospital care that can take what I'm going through and just take me to the next level. It's like hiring a personal trainer if you're obese. I want to lose weight. The doctor says I have to be at 1,200 calories. How do I get there? I don't even know what I'm doing. So get me to that point where my labs are starting to look good and everything else, right? You can't be in the Laker team without listening to Phil Jackson and having that starting five doing what they're doing. And that's the team you create. You're that coach. You have your Kobe Bryant, you have your Shaquille O'Neal, your Derek Fishers, and everyone plays a key role to your health, right? And let's just use sports as an example, right? Sure. Because you do have that Kobe Bryant on your team. Whether it's your internal medicine doctor who can say, Mark, I can redirect you to your cardiologist because we're finding irregular heartbeats as you coming in here, right? Sure. Which leads to number 4, be kind to yourself, right? And that's something that really, really, I didn't understand what that meant. And when I was speaking to a lot of the doctors and a lot of even psychotherapists or mental health coaches, they said, what do you love doing? What are the things you love doing? And I said, exercise, reading, and playing golf, right? But one of the key things that really helped me when they were saying, well, be kind to yourself, were the peer groups that I started to invest my time with, like going on to, and I can name them down the list if anyone is new to kidney failure, the National Kidney Foundation, NephCure Foundation, the Core Kidney Program at UCLA, which I am 100% the ambassador and believe in their program because of the patients that they put first, right? And all these organizations are great, and they all play a key component in your journey with kidney failure, but some organizations can help you more with the information they have and input they have with your specific disease, right? Like, for example, the NephCure Foundation, really great with FSGS. The Core Kidney Foundation, very great with the core support of the people. I don't think I would be to where I'm at today if it wasn't for that organization to say, Mark, you can do it. We believe in power of how you promote or even share kidney disease. And put yourself out there with your struggles. I found that I got the most support from people fighting kidney disease than I did from my family, from my friends, and anybody I came in contact with. Right, I felt alone. I didn't feel that anybody understood what I was going through, but the community did. Man,
Absolutely.
I intake so much water today. There's water in my lungs.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, I got that. I dealt with that. This is what you do. This is how you have to deal with it. And these people understood, right? And in this journey of kidney failure, what I realized in humanity, and humanity is amazing. Everyone wants to help, they just don't know how, right?
Absolutely.
So
Right.
I was dealing with people who were financially stable, who said, Mark, I can help you. Let's start a GoFundMe account. We should promote, maybe your medication if I were to go out of town, because back then, I don't know how UNOS is now, but I was able to get the 5 different transplant centers. Dallas, Texas was one.
Wow.
Cedars-Sinai, UCLA, Baltimore, Maryland, Mayo Clinic, Arizona. Baltimore, Maryland was that's not the hospital. I think it's Mayo Clinic is Arizona.
Yeah.
There's another one in Baltimore, Maryland. I forgot. And then in New York. So
you
I
mentioned
did
Cedars-Sinai. That's where all the celebrities go when they need to go to the hospital out there in LA.
right. Right. Yeah. So
Yep.
that's where they go. Yep. That's where they go. And I've seen some walking by. It's pretty interesting,
Yep.
But I had to really, really put myself in a situation where nationwide there's transplant centers all over, right?
Yeah.
For myself, I knew what heartaches was going to happen, or not even heartaches, but hardship, right? Once I got a transplant somewhere else, because that's going to automatically take me 8 weeks out to even get transferred so that I can go home, right? They're looking at your assessments. You're going for 3 days. Then you have to stay to make sure that there isn't any rejections in the first 4 to 6 weeks, and they transfer you back to your hometown, right? So I'm very, very lucky, right? I'm very, very lucky that I was able to get it in my hometown. Everything.
Absolutely.
I was able to, do everything from home, same nephrologist, same everything. My team is definitely locked down, but it took 10 years to find out who my starting 5 lineup was, period.
Yeah.
I didn't know that before, but I definitely know that now. And the only way I did that was because I asked all the questions needed, and making sure that prior to coming in there, I had questions asked. And if that answer wasn't fulfilled, you're not the doctor for me. That's just point blank, right? Oh,
Yeah.
well, you're the expert. I'm telling you right now, I'm the expert in my body. This is how I feel. If you cannot fulfill what I need in the time of me seeing you, and I do have that 15-minute slide, maybe we're not a fit, right? Maybe I'm just a number coming in. I'm just data. And I don't take, I don't take anything for granted. I mean, with all due respect, you do what you do, but I need to make sure that I'm taken care of. At this point, it's not that I'm greedy with my health, but I'm greedy with my health, right?
Absolutely.
And if you're not the person to answer those questions, I can move on, because again, there's 13,000 nephrologists in the world, in the nation, 300 focusing on my specific kidney disease. I'll find another one. I failed here. My life has been nothing but failures with this kidney disease, right? It's the battle, but it's a small battles. It's the war, right? From beginning to end, it's the war. But it's a small battles that really, really count the most, right? I beat my high blood pressure today. Great. I'm gonna go have some chips today, right? I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. I'm gonna go get some steak, right? So count your small battles. This is not. This is a war that at the end of the day, that war is our grave site when we're 6 feet deep. It's the small battles when we continually go on with life that we can say we can celebrate, right? And celebration doesn't necessarily mean go out and drink as much as you want. I'm very, very cautious of doing that. But what does that mean for you? Does that mean going out in the sun when you have immunosuppressant medications and playing golf to treat yourself to go out there because you can't be in the sun because of the immunosuppressant medications you're taking? So those are the things that really, really resonated with me to really advocate for yourself. Don't be shy. You're already going through your scenario and situation. right?
Yeah.
They say you only fail when you fail to try, right? And in this illness of kidney disease, you have to ask 100 questions, even if you don't get it till you get it that 101 time. And I've done that.
Right.
I don't care if you're IRC. My medical insurance is paying for this visit. I'm paying for a deductible the moment I come in here. You're giving me the medications. Now tell me why I got to take these medications and 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 why I should be doing that, just so that I can say, you know what you told me tonight or today was sufficient enough that I don't have to fact check what you just said to me, doc, because I tend to do that every single time anyway, right? I
Right.
I fact check all my labs. I fact check my creatinine and looking at all my CBCs from white blood cells to hematocrit to, I mean, we know our labs at this point. We're as equally. I'm not gonna They know everything about our healthcare, but we
Yeah.
know now how to read labs. I guarantee you, once you've been doing this for 10 years, you've asked every question on why something has been elevated, and you
Right.
should be taking note on why that's elevated. Maybe you did something wrong when it came to, who knows, diets
Yeah.
off, all of that good stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I learned how to do all that within the first couple of months because they kept bringing me my blood lab chart or the
right,
copy of the blood lab, and I was like, I don't even know how to read this, so I had to really do some research and figure it out for myself. I became my own best advocate, is what I did,
right,
and I know we
right.
use that term a lot, own best advocate, but I really did. I had to teach myself and learn and ask questions and get engaged with my healthcare. And man, Mark, you're a ball of fire, man. You're doing awesome, and I appreciate all the information. We had a really quick question. Lisa Baxter, shout out to Lisa Baxter. She's awesome. She's asking a question. Do you have a book?
Not yet, but it's coming. It's definitely coming. Um, I think we need to share. I think we need to share this input. A lot of people, I realize, I've been talking to a couple of people who says, "Look, Mark, I'm not very good with visual, but you give me that book, I can understand definitely what you're saying." So
Right,
that's definitely
right,
coming in the near future. We're working on
right.
that now, but it's a surprise. So definitely, when that comes out, Hope with Jonathan will definitely know, number one, and he'll definitely get a book sent to his house for
Oh
sure.
man, I appreciate that, Mark. I look forward to it. But I really appreciate the valuable information, man. I mean, you're at point four. I know you have 5 points that you want to hit. So I'm gonna let
Yeah.
you go ahead and roll into your fifth point, and then we'll ask some questions from there.
Okay, great. So here's what I did. Okay, and I feel very, very thankful that I was even able to get to this point. Right. I exposed my story like really, really to the gut of my soul to tell it on Fox 11 News. So it was on Fox 11.
Wow.
I promoted it on Facebook. I promoted it on social media. I promoted it on Instagram, any platform I can possibly get my hands on to just share my story. And one thing about social media in the new generation we're living at, people are more connected than we think. um, Share your story. Okay. Share as much as possible, go all in. If you haven't urinated in 2 years, say you haven't urinated in 2 years. If you
Wow.
take 50 pills a day, say you take 50 pills a day, right?
Yeah.
Because I go no holds bar, man. I was like, look, I'm fighting my life, and what would you please help me, right?
Yeah.
um how, in what capacity can, because I'll take all the help that's needed. I don't care if it's support, just hear me out, because at the end of the day, I'm home alone. I mean, I'm with my fiance, but I'm alone mentally. I'm alone with myself, and I need someone who's fighting this disease to help me get through this journey that I'm finding myself in that hole. Um, and be creative. There's other, you can put billboards up, with your phone number. But I mean, I'm telling you, the moment you can open up of who you are, those skeletons that you're hiding from. And here's another thing that even my mother told me. She said, "Don't tell your story because people will feel bad for you."
Wow.
Or you can tell your story and it motivates somebody. So you choose on how
True.
and which
That's
direction
deep.
you want to share that, right? She
Right.
told me, she said, "Look, if you share it, just know that there is there's backlash to everything you do. There's a cause and effect. There's a yin to a yang, right? So if you tell this story, especially now with everything that's going on, and oh my God, I got a GoFundMe account, and then they get like $50 million, and you're like, well, you were perfectly fine. Like, people knew I was hurting, dude. I was showing every evidence, every data that said, I don't even think this guy's going through what he's going through. I didn't give him no doubt. I didn't give him any 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 way to make a right turn to say, I don't know if I can support this. Everyone was like, wow, this
Yeah.
is very moving. And a lot of people need to hear this part, right? Because we need to share the story. We need to, when I tell people I haven't urinated in 2 years, they were like, what? Because that's something that comes second nature to a person who's very, very healthy.
Right.
So, and I say that with confidence. I said, look, I haven't urinated in 2 years. Well, how are you able to
Yeah.
do that? And I just show my catheter, right? I said, this is my
Yeah.
urinating port. This is the way I urinated. This is the way I clean my blood. This is the way I
Yeah.
lived my life for a year and a half prior to getting a kidney transplant. So don't
Yeah.
don't fear that your story will be looked down upon. I mean, I had to really, really be vulnerable. I had to let go of ego, and look at where it has brought me. And this is what I'm telling people, is that, look, there's this road, right? There is always a light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
And all you have to do is say, hey, is anybody there? Can anybody help me to dig to get to that destination? I will guarantee you that somebody out there will help. Not in the way you want to, but in a way that can get you to that next step moving forward, right? And it could be anything: a piece of bread, a piece of motivation, a piece of grit to say, look, I do see that light. I said, do you see it? And you get that motivation of someone saying, yes, I do see it. So you keep pushing forward, right? And not lose faith. I don't know what anybody believes in. I don't push any religion on anybody, but I had
Right.
to believe in something bigger than me. I had to
Right.
believe that when I went home at night, that somebody was listening to me and answering a prayer, a quote, anything,
Absolutely.
and I never lost faith in that, right?
Yep.
I learned through this whole process that a healthy person has 1,000 wishes, a sick person has one, and
Yeah.
that answer has been answered by my religious belief, God, Jesus Christ, and
Sure.
I don't mean to put it on anybody on here for any religious beliefs, but I
Sure.
always thought that a healthy person has 1,000 wishes, a sick person has one, and that answer of my prayer was answered.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah. A sick person has one, and that wishes is to be healthy again. That's usually
You know
what
what I'm
that
saying?
prayer is. Yeah. And
That's
that's
it. That's
that's
it.
amazing. That's
Yes,
amazing,
sir.
man. Yeah. Mark's full of passion, guys, as you can tell, and I really appreciate him sharing those 5 points. What an amazing display of information, man. You guys definitely need to check out Mark at his website. He's over on Instagram too at the Kidney Fighter. If you haven't already followed him over there, please go over, jump over to Instagram and follow him over. As you guys can tell, he's a passionate kidney warrior wanting to get this information out, share with you guys this awesome information. And this has been awesome so far. I wanted to talk with you a little bit about you're wearing the green ribbon. So can you tell us what the significance of you wearing that green ribbon tonight is for?
I wear this proud, my brother. This is kidney disease awareness, mental health awareness. I wear all of that for that specific reason. But for me, this green ribbon essentially means the Green Ribbon Campaign, right? It's a green ribbon that supports people fighting kidney disease, people who need to know about what the green ribbon is, and really just really, everyone has their own ribbon, right? But not that many people will wear it until the day of an event or something like that. This is something that's worn frequently. You tell me to
Yeah,
go into an event where awareness is being promoted, this green ribbon is not gonna not shine, right? I mean, thank you for
right,
posting that flyer that you did with me having that green ribbon with that white T-shirt. That was for the George Lopez Foundation golf tournament to raise awareness for kidney disease and help those in need. Uh, uh, for the youth, you know, at the Painted
Yeah.
Turtle, which is really great. And they're doing really
Oh,
good
that's
work,
awesome.
and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
awesome.
significant for that. You know, everything
Yeah.
is green, even my pen. You know,
Yeah.
everything is black, and then you'll see everything green, right? So
Yeah.
this is what it is. This is the
Yeah.
storyline of a fighter, of a warrior, of a person
Yeah.
who wants to get that awareness out, to make
Well,
sure that everyone is aware of what's going on,
yeah.
that they need to know that you can live with one kidney, right?
Absolutely. No, it's a great conversation starter, if anything. And I have my Donate Life bracelet on. I wear every day. You can't really see it because my sweatshirt is on, but I have a green Donate Life bracelet on, and I wear that every day as
Amazing.
my conversation starter. But you know, a lot of
Amazing.
people locally here know my story. But anywhere I go, it's kind of crazy because sometimes, you know, my family and wife and kids, they'll say, you know, maybe you don't want to really share your story if you're out with us at the restaurant, but somehow, some way, it just comes up in a topic, like maybe the waitress. And this is a true story. Waitress was wearing the green Donate Life bracelet, and I said, "Hey, I got one too." And so, you know, somehow, some way, it comes up, whether in conversation with a stranger, or somehow it just seems like that my story comes up in some way. And you know, and I'll be talking with someone about diabetes or hypertension, and then I'll go into my story about how, you know, I ended up in kidney failure because of type 2 diabetes and hypertension. And so, yeah, it's a great way to get the conversation started.
I tell my story to everyone I come in contact with.
Yeah.
No question. I don't hesitate. Hey, how you doing? Wait, what's going on? How you doing? We get to know each other. You learn a little bit about them. I
Yeah.
don't say they know a little bit about Mark. They're like, dang, he hasn't urinated in 2 years. That's a crazy story, right?
Yeah.
And people are like, wow, such an amazing inspirational story. You
Yeah.
just don't know who you're gonna meet, right? So now
True.
I know when I speak to people, I'm my authentic self. There is no hide. I mean, those skeletons in the closet, in all honesty, were me fighting an illness that I just said, you know what? Skeletons, I'm gonna just wear those skeletons. I'm gonna just put them right back where they belong, right? Because
Sure.
that's what made me who I am, right? The
Yeah.
fire, the grit of what we experience. You know, I think
I,
if you go through this, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, when you face something like chronic kidney disease and end up in kidney failure, you know, pride kind of goes out the window. I mean, forget about your pride at that point, because you're desperate, right? I mean, you're saying, you're asking for all the information. You want to know what happened to you, and pride would hold you back if you're too prideful to ask the questions, or too prideful
Right,
to share your story.
right.
It goes out the window at that point. You have to be an open book, and let people know what's going on with you.
100%. And that's what today is about, right?
Yeah.
Telling your story with confidence. You know,
Yeah.
it took a while. It took 8 years. It took me 2 years on dialysis to stop feeling sorry for myself and saying, you know what, let's do this.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of doctor visits, right? It took
Yeah.
multiple doctor visits. It didn't just take, hey, I gotta go to the doctor visits. I need to know what I'm going in there for. I want to make sure that this machine, this physical being, is taken care
Yeah.
of, to what I've learned so far, right?
Yeah. When you face a chronic illness, you have to come to a point of acceptance. And I'd like to know, at what point, when you entered kidney failure, and realized that you were going to have to be on dialysis. I mean, you were training to be a boxer, and I'm sure you wanted to chase after, you know, like a championship and all that stuff. So at what point did you come into acceptance and say, man, I got to accept this, and start moving on to what's going to get me better and get me out of this situation?
So the question is, at what point did I accept my situation?
Yes, sir.
When I ended up on dialysis, the very first day I was on dialysis, I said, now I have kidney failure.
Yeah.
Because I didn't
Yeah.
have any signs and symptoms, right? I didn't have any
Right.
signs and symptoms, and I played with my life. I gambled it.
Yeah.
And this is the honest truth. I gambled with the idea that kidney failure wasn't going to take me out, that wasn't going to knock me out,
Yeah.
because I didn't feel sick. I didn't have any urge that I was sick. All I ever felt was tired. That was it. But for me, that wasn't significant enough to say, you know what, I got kidney failure. Period. Period.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
only got serious when that tube and
Mm.
that blood came out of my body to say, whoa, this is real
Yeah.
life.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing that happened with me. I played Russian roulette with my type 2 diabetes and hypertension for years. I mean, I ate
Right.
what I wanted. I did what I wanted, but that lifestyle I ended up in the emergency room in kidney failure, stage 5 ESRD from living that lifestyle of eating what I wanted, doing what I wanted. And I had no care until I landed flat on my back. And like you said, I had one wish at that point was to get me out of this, get me out of here. I wanted to get better, and so I remember acceptance for me happened, I think, around the second day that I was I actually was in the ICU for 3 days. And I remember when I finally came to, I was in my bed and I had my pity party moment where I felt sorry for myself. And then I had to realize, wait a minute, I got to accept this. This has happened. Like this has happened and I've got to move on. I got to figure out, I got to start listening to what they're saying because man, they start hitting you with a lot of knowledge quick. Like they start talking to you about the renal diet and all this different knowledge of, dialysis 3 times a week and all this stuff. So, they hit you with a lot. So I accepted things really quickly. But for some people it's tough because it becomes sort of a mental health issue where people get depressed quickly and down. So, in what ways have you overcome that?
I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of self reflection, I was bitter. I was honestly bitter. I didn't. I find myself at, at those times, and now that I look back, thank God for dialysis because it saved my life. Number one. Number two,
Absolutely.
it let me understand how to sit with myself,
Yeah.
right? On how to just sit and just think like, is this where my life is, where it ends? You hear all these stories on the news. Someone got a kidney transplant. How did they do it? Because
Yeah.
outside of that mental struggle, you're still having to worry about, can I drink this amount of water a day
Yeah.
or every 2 days till I get back on dialysis because I might get
Yeah.
bloated from my face, my feet, and all of that good stuff. So, you know, um, I find myself dealing with that now because even now, I mean, in the state of California, they don't, prednisone is still something that they give patients, right? And that's a
Yeah.
hard drug on the body, right? You can't
Right.
be in the sun too long. You get mentally depressed at certain times because of this steroid, and you going through this cycle. And what I came to do now is make sure that my peers and the people that I'm around, I just ask the question the moment it starts happening. Hey guys, I just got a new version of tacrolimus. What are your signs and symptoms? How are you able to overcome it? One thing I
Yeah.
that I do very well now is ask questions, and if I don't get it, I'll ask them 50 more times so that my mental capacity can understand what I'm going through, number one, and what effects it's having on my body, number two, right?
Yeah.
Don't be
Right.
shy. I'm telling you, and anybody listening to this, don't be shy to ask questions amongst your peers. You'll be very surprised on how many people will really help you out, especially
Sure.
in these forums on Facebook, right? I ask one question, there's 150 comments, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I don't know about that. That's great. Wow. I mean, it's just, but
Yeah.
you got to go through the motion, right? You got to go through the motion of your
Yeah.
own journey. We all have our own journey. Everyone in hospital care deals with people on a case by case basis, right? And we're all different. So what might work for me might not work for you, but now I know what the signs and symptoms are for this
Right.
specific medication. So anybody
Right.
that's going through any specific illness, I mean, Facebook has been a great avenue for these peer groups for support, right? Hey guys, my eyes twitching. What can that be from? And
Right.
everyone has a comment, and I'm like, oh, let me look through my medications, and it might be this, and it might be that, and it's really,
Yeah.
really amazing how this
Yeah.
journey has perspired because I've met way more friends here and learned more about quality friendship than I did when I was sick, vulnerable, and when I had no community because I just wanted to fit in with specific groups, but
Absolutely.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
because
No,
you
me
feel
too.
alone once
Because
you
the
find a
the kidney
community, right?
the kidney community is like a large family, right? Because I remember when I first got sick, man, I mean, they reached out to me with loving arms and brought me in. And honestly, they were closer to me at that time than even some of my family members, sad to say, but it was true. It really was true.
No, it's true. It's true. And a lot of people who say, I've been talking to a lot of patients who say, man, I can't believe none of my family members came forward to do the transplant. In all honesty, man, like, this is the reality of the fact that you're going through this journey alone. So you got to make sure you find people who can mentally support your that's the word there. And that's what this ribbon also means, right? I'm very grateful that I do have a fiance who learned how to do the renal diet, who learned how to cook for me, who learned that specific journey in her life. You know what I mean? My fiance can't have salt because that can retain water, because salt turns into so she started to be her own like little dietitian herself, based on asking the questions that I didn't want to answer, because for me it was just, I got to survive, that's it. And it's hard for some people who don't have that, right? Even if family is key. And that when we say family, man, family doesn't necessarily have to be blood.
All right. You can say it again.
Family doesn't have to be blood.
That's right.
They say, what is the saying? It goes like this. It'll come back to me, and I'm gonna think about it for a second. But blood. It says blood makes you relative, loyalty makes you family.
There you go.
And that really sunk in with me when somebody told me that even my family members would do some harm to me. And so we just have to play it on a case-by-case basis again, right? We have to go through life with an open mind, a third eye, to just really observe with what we're going through as patients, as people who are going through this journey. Because a lot of people, once they end up with an illness like ours, which is really, really intense, I talk to people, oh, you had a kidney transplant, oh, that's a major surgery. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't seem like it is for someone who's going to get a lung transplant, a heart transplant, but you step back, you're like, wow, that was a real intense surgery. Imagine all the veins, the vena, the positives and negatives. It's like, I mean, it was really, really intense when that happened, and that journey did start. But here's the thing: is that we're warriors, we're fighters. Do not be ashamed to share your story. Me and you are a perfect example, and all the hundreds and thousands of people who create these podcasts to share their stories is like, look at them as an example. Don't you feeling sorry for yourself will only limit the journey to continue on. There are people here willing to support you. All you have to do is raise your hand and say, I need help, because there will be one of us who can say, here's the journey, let's go. They say the only time you look down is when you're picking somebody up. Right? And this is where that quote comes into place.
It's interesting you talked about Facebook before. Why don't we talk a little bit about social media and advocating across social media? Because some people just depend upon Facebook alone. It seems like a lot of people are just utilizing Facebook, but there's other platforms that you can utilize. And I say, try to use as many as possible to, advocate and tell your story. And that's what I say. I say spread the love and try to get on as many platforms as possible. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree with you, brother. Get on national TV if you can. Even if it's your last dollar, put it in that. Bet your life on any social platform, whether it's Instagram, TikTok's a big one, Facebook, LinkedIn. These are all different platforms that we got to utilize. And you don't need to know much. All you need to do is learn how to share your story. Absolutely. if you're good at being on camera and saying, hey guys, this is my story, this is my journey, this is what it looks like every day. I get put to this machine 3 hours a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and this is what I'm going to look like when I'm done. See you guys soon.
There you go.
Hey guys, this is what it's like. I just did 3 hours on dialysis.
Yeah.
If anyone out there can hear this and you're willing to donate a kidney, please reach out. I'm at UCLA. You know, I'm at Cedar Sinai's. I'm at Kaiser. This is the number, and you're there to donate for Marc Coronel. Please reach out. Thank you.
Yeah.
How hard was that?
Yeah, it's as simple as possible. And you know what? Less is more. So keeping the video underneath, 2-3 minutes, is fine. Hit your points and get in, get out, and don't make it incredibly too long. Because look, we're living in a small attention span moment in our, in this time that we live in. Nobody's gonna really watch your whole, 1 hour video explaining. They want you to hit your point and get to the, meat of it and move on. So I think that's, great advice across the board is, keep it to around 2 to 3 minutes to, get to your point. And I think that helps people get their story out there.
100%. Just share who you are. Hey guys, my name's Marc Coronel. I'm fighting kidney disease. I've been fighting it for 8 years. For the last 2 years, I've been ending up on dialysis. I'm now at UCLA I'm at UCLA Transplant. This is the number you can call. Please reach out if you can. I would do that every single day. Believe it or not. It'll be on my story. It'll be on my feed. It'll be everything. And every day would be another journey of what you go through. Share that. Share that. Yeah. That's powerful. Yeah. People don't know what we go through till we open our mouth and share the story. People don't know stories until it's told, right? It's history. Right. It's his story. That's what that means. Right. History. His story. And that's what I'm doing. I'm telling my history of my journey. And that's what patients should do. It's easier said than done, and I know it, right? Yeah. Because some of us have ego issues, like myself, right?
Right. And you brought up faith earlier, and I'm not afraid to tell you I'm a Jesus believer. I'm a person of faith, and so not to push my belief on anyone else, but that's my personal belief. And the Bible speaks about sharing your testimony. There's power. And we're overcomers by sharing our testimony. And the testimony is basically your story. And so we're overcomers by sharing our story. And if we don't share our story, then nobody's going to know. So you have to be willing to share your story. No doubt.
You know where that word testimony comes from, right?
Yeah.
The word testimony?
Yeah, you have to go through
to have a testimony. You have to go through a test in order to have a testimony. That's right. So it's time and time again, God says that he gives his strongest warriors the fight of their life that they can overcome with, and we have been, and we're still fighting this journey, and yes, faith has definitely played a key role for me. I prayed every night. I prayed every night. I prayed every morning. I prayed every time I ate. I prayed that I was able to get up every morning to make sure that I had something to be thankful for, right? That was my health, right? Absolutely. So, that definitely plays a very big key role. But back to the advocacy side, back to the kidney disease and sharing your story with confidence, right? I'm a walking testimony, right? Of a person who has probably gone through the same, if not worse, if not, who knows? We just don't know, but we do know is that we have kidney failure, kidney disease, been on dialysis, and have had a kidney transplant.
Right.
Share it. Share that story. Tell it. You have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. They say closed mouths don't get fed. Closed mouths don't get fed. Right. This is how you'll be able to get fed. Whether it feeds your soul, whether it feeds your kidney, whether it feels anything you got going on in your life. Open your story and share it.
Absolutely. Well, guys, listen, the title of the show is Hope with Jonathan. I think everything that Marc Coronel, the kidney fighter, tonight has been shared is going to give you some inspiration, some motivation, some hope. And guys, listen, I've got one more question for Marc. Marc, you're a very passionate person, very animated. You got a lot of passion behind you. But at what point did you decide that you were going to be Marc Coronel, the kidney fighter, and bring out all your passion and share your story? What made you stand up, and what brought out that tenacity that you have? Because it's awesome, brother. It's awesome.
This was the same passion I had for fighting. This was the same passion. I used to clean floors for my gym membership because I wanted to be in the gym. The only difference from cleaning the floors and being on this is the grit mentality, doing everything you possibly can to fight out of your situation, right? To fight for what you believe in. You know, I didn't win a world championship belt, but I did win a world championship kidney.
Yes,
That's what mattered to me the most, right? My training doesn't consist of waking up 6 a.m. every day. It's going to the doctors once a month. My kidney disease is that boxing round every day of the week, right? It's every day. That's my training every day. My punching bag is taking my medication. My hitting the speed bag is drinking my water. My sparring sessions is my results when I get it from the doctors. I need to know that every round I won that sparring session. I need to know that when I wake up, that 6 a.m. run to the doctor's office will be 100%. Mark, you did good at sparring today, right? Because, you know, when you go into that doctor's office, just like when you get into that ring, it's you by yourself, no one else. Absolutely. And the only way someone can tell the difference from you training and not is if you don't have any more gas at the 12th round, the 5th round, the 6th round, you know?
Yeah.
That's an equivalent of saying, let me look at his labs. Mark, you've been eating like crap. Mark, you're not hydrated. Mark, you need to fix on that. Yeah. So this is how that Marc Coronel is. I had to transition my passion for fighting to now fighting for my life to now fighting for what I believe in. You see what I'm saying? So, yes, so that's now. So me talking to you is we're going back and forth, and you're throwing that jab out by asking these questions, and I'm saying, look, this is how I did it, and throwing my uppercut and giving you right back to the verbiage of what you might not want to hear, but it's something that I came to the side and threw that uppercut and say, wow, I felt that. I felt that passion, right? Yeah. So that's how I was able to revert that Marc Coronel to the kidney fighter to making that as a whole, right? And yeah, man, the fight is always going to continue.
Well, I can honestly say, man, I'm TKO'd right now. So I'm totally knocked out by Marc Coronel, the kidney fighter, man. You're winning, brother. You are winning. So
thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Amazing stuff.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to interview you, man. You're just awesome individual, awesome advocate for kidney disease, and very inspiring. And man,
thank you.
Everything you shared with us tonight, man. I hope people are writing this stuff down because it was awesome, man. It was awesome.
Hey, everybody on here, Mr. Kidney, Lisa Baxter, Jared, everybody Jared here.
Steve Belcher from Urban Health.
Right, Marcelo, amazing guy. Everybody Diaz, on here. Thank you. Yeah, Jonathan Diaz. Hey, everybody on here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I did read those comments, but I have to focus on what Jonathan has to say because I got to get it out, and I want to answer everything that everyone was saying. But just know that I did read those comments. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in. Hope with Jonathan. Again, this is a knockout. You know what I mean?
Man, it was awesome, man. Like I said, you totally knocked me out with all the information. It's amazing. So tonight we're knocking out kidney disease. So
exactly
champions together with the
exactly 1-2. Exactly. So, there you go. 1-2. Yes, sir.
But hey, guys, we appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. This is going to conclude our interview with the kidney fighter, Marc Coronel. We'll have all of his information in the description. And guys, if you're not already following him over on Instagram, go check him out. He's the kidney fighter and amazing, inspiring advocate for kidney disease. And again, guys, I hope you guys had a chance to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care of yourself. God bless. Take care of your kidneys. This is Jonathan signing off. Let me hit that button.
Hey guys, have you checked out Kidney Conversations, a new series brought to you by host Hope with Jonathan and KWM's Kidney Warrior merch, Kyle Hawkers from Toronto, Canada. Yes, it's a brand new series brought to you by us for you as the kidney patient. We're trying to inform, educate, and inspire by sharing and spreading awareness for kidney disease, dialysis, kidney failure, transplant, organ donation, and so much more. This is a brand new series, guys, brought to you by Hope with Jonathan and Kidney Warrior merch. What we're going to do is post weekly on our pages across social media. Right now it's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then on Friday, we'll be releasing an informative video over on Hope with Jonathan. Check it out, guys. kidneyconversations.info.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Hope with Jonathan podcast. Again, guys, I'm your host, Jonathan Traylor, and I appreciate everyone for tuning in to this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast with Marc Coronel, the kidney fighter. What an incredible, influential kidney advocate that Marc is. And I definitely appreciate him for coming on the show. Guys, listen, again, we definitely appreciate you for coming over to the YouTube channel and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Definitely appreciate all the love and support. And again, guys, if you haven't already, checked us out at hopewithjonathan.com. Please do so. You can watch live interviews, listen to podcasts, and you can read our blogs and check out what we're doing with Kidney Conversations. You can also find a lot of different friends and advocates that we're associated with Hope with Jonathan. And you can do that right from the website. And we have many links and many resources over there. We're also featuring some warriors over there that are in need of a donor and much, much more. And guys, listen, if you're ever impressed to want to help support what we're doing with Hope with Jonathan, there's ways for you to donate over there. Any amount would be much appreciated. And there are some costs and fees that go along with Hope with Jonathan. And we gratefully will continue to find resources and ways to take care of those. And we definitely want to continue to be a blessing to the community. So the only way to do that, unfortunately, is through monetary means. And sometimes we have to put ourselves out there and kind of ask for them sometimes. And we definitely appreciate any blessing that would come our way. And all proceeds definitely go right back into Hope with Jonathan and what we're doing. But hey, guys, listen, really appreciate you. Y'all take care, and God bless. Take care of your kidneys. This is Jonathan.